Hello, everybody, and welcome to Harmel virtual panel with our alumni.
Woo!
Here they are. Here are these guys. Okay, everyone. My name is Kate Avery. I am filling in for Isaac, who you probably have communicated with in some way, shape, or form. I'm the operations director here at Harmel. Isaac is out sick with the bug right now, so I'm filling in. Um, And to that end, I ask that you bear with me as I try to run all these little bits and pieces. We are going to try and run this with the alumni on camera, and we're asking that everyone else mute your audio and cameras, and then we'll use the chat feature, and I'll kind of moderate through and ask the questions as they come in. Um, so see that on your Zoom panel. Um, and I think I've got one more alumni here that's going to try and sign in. Mr. Marcosi. I think he can start his camera. Um, and in lieu of having any elevator music, I'm going to point out right off the bat that Nathan Hatley has a fish, and that is the sound you're hearing.
Yep. Some
It's not
nice
new
nature
walls.
sounds for you.
It's hard to find non-copyright music these days, so it'll have to do.
True.
Oh, he's gone.
All right. Well, we're just going to have to move on without him. All right, y'all, I am going to start a recording so others can see this after the fact, and you can also tune in after if you missed an answer or something. But again, welcome. My name is Kate Avery. I'm the Director of Operations here at Harmel Academy, and tonight we are featuring three, maybe four of our alumni, depending on how technology goes, to answer questions for prospective students and parents and families that are interested in Harmel and what we're doing here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Let's see. I have a bank of questions, some that came in through the RSVP, and some that have been emailed in or seen on different social media channels. And then we're gonna rely on the chat again, as I said, to pop in questions as they come to your mind, audience. And Lewis, I think you can try turning your camera on now. There he is.
Hey.
Mr. Marcosi. You're on mute, but are you? Can we hear you, Lewis? I have to do it, huh? All right. All right. Let me find you. Oh my gosh.
There it is.
Wow.
Sorry about that.
Hey.
My whole laptop decided to shut down and then not have Zoom downloaded, but I'm here.
Welcome.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Sorry
I'm
about
filling
that.
in for Isaac. We've got over 14 people on here looking at you guys for the answers. So, kind of without further ado here, I want to introduce the panel. And I know they're in a different pattern for everybody, but we've got Matt Aslin. He's an MST grad 2022. We've got Nathan Hatley, an electrical grad, also from 2022. And Josh Fisher, an MST grad from 2023. And then Mr. Louis Marcosi there, an FSS Foundations grad from 2024. Guys, what are you up to now? Matt?
Well, I guess I'll start. So I have been 2 years out of Harmel. I've been currently working at an Autocam. It's out in Kentwood. It's a machine maintenance. I outside of that, I was living in a rental house out in Comstock Park, and then just as of I believe 6 months ago, I just bought my first house out in Marne, Michigan. And I'm kind of a little bit of a fixer-upper, but so I'm just kind of working slowly at it, picking away at certain things that I can fix on my own, like some drywall patching. And I am also engaged to my fiance Sarah, who I also met actually through one of the alumni who I'm currently living with. So I technically met her through Harmel.
Don't say Harmel hasn't given you anything, huh?
Right.
Nate, what are you up to?
So more of the same. Since I've graduated Harmel, I've been continuing my electrical apprenticeship. I've been mostly doing residential electric all around the state of Michigan, everywhere from Michigan City, Indiana, all the way to Traverse City. I'm currently entering my 4th year of my apprenticeship, studying to get my journeyman soon. I've also picked up side work from friends from church. I'm also currently engaged, and yeah, just stuff like that. Other than that, I'm just vibing.
The fish tank. Good.
Yep. Yeah.
Mr. Fisher, what are you up to these days?
I am not engaged, so I hate to break the streak.
That was the first thing I was going to say.
All right, it's 2-on-2 then. After graduating in 2023, I got hired on full-time at Micron Manufacturing, which is a CNC turning shop in Walker, Michigan, just a little northwest of the city. I've been full-time there for a year and a half. 6 months ago, their lead guy quit, and they gave me his job, which was stressful to begin with, but it's going well so far. Definitely been a big learning curve to that. I rent a house with 5 other guys. In some capacity, either went to Harmel or associated with Harmel. And yeah, we work on our cars, we ride our motorcycles, we work on our project cars, a lot of vehicles. We have a lot of vehicles.
Great. And Mr. Marcosi, what are you up to this first year out of the program?
Yeah, I don't even know anymore. But I graduated from the 1-year program last year, and then I was trying to figure out what I was going to do from there, and I got an opportunity to return to Harmel this year as a steward. So I'm living on Harmel's campus, and I get to live within the community, but I'm not attending the school right now. But I got to go to mass today with all the guys, along with I get to attend prayer, and I get to attend all the Harmel events, and I also have responsibilities within the community. But I'm working full time at Vanderheide Construction. It's a construction company here around Grand Rapids. So it's cool because I get to work full time as well as still being able to be part of the Harmel community.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here, guys, tonight. As I mentioned, I've got some questions that were pre-fed to us when people were RSVPing. And so I'm gonna get to know you guys a little bit more through that. One overarching question here is just why did you choose the trades? Why did you choose Harmel? Nate, what drew you to the trades?
The short answer is I tried college, and college didn't work for me. And I will say one of the hangups going out of that, it was during COVID. So I was spending the summer driving around cleaning pools, and I liked the aspect of being able to do stuff with my hands. However, I didn't want the stigma of the college dropout that isn't smart enough to get a degree, so has to go into the trades or whatever. And the main thing that drew me to Harmel is it managed to capture the dignity of working with your hands, as well as the emphasis on the humanities and the dignity of work. which was my previous college background from Wyoming Catholic. So being able to unite work and theology together was the big positive for me. And also how not only one of the big takeaways I took from that is at Harmel, you are given hard skills and you are taught philosophy, because how can you be expected to tackle existential problems without being taught how to tackle practical problems? And it unites the two very well.
Josh, what attracted you to the trades? Was that a foregone conclusion?
A little bit. Always been pretty handy with my hands. When I lived with my parents, I had like handy outdoor jobs. I was working at a garden nursery. And then my mom found out about it, and I was like, "Oh, that'd be pretty cool." So I applied, and I got in. And it sounds strange to say, I came for the trades, but I stayed with the trades, but I also stayed for the humanities. And it wasn't a part. It wasn't something I considered going in. I was just like, "Oh yeah, I'll get a trades degree because that sounds like a good deal." Um, but then I kind of fell in love with the humanities side of things too, which I didn't at all predict going in. Um, so yeah, there's definitely a little bit of yin and yang there.
You mentioned humanities, and I know I have a question down the chain in a little bit, but Lewis, what another facet of Harmel, though, you had mentioned going to mass, but like, is the prayer life? And I wonder what, if you would share, what's your prayer life like as an alum? I guess you're kind of in the community, but as an alumni.
Yeah, well, that's a tough question, because it sometimes I have to fight myself because technically I'm not like required to go to prayer in accordance of like that. I'm not a student of Harmel, but in the sense of like it's good for my soul and the well-being of my life. Like there's that, but no. So I every possible chance I have to attend um Lauds, Compline, and Vespers, which is morning prayer, evening prayer, and night prayer. I always do. Some days at work, it's tough because I work every day, as opposed to like when you're in the school program, you have days where you work and days where you are in class. So it varies between like some of the guys here work and then they don't get back till later, so they can't really make it to any of the prayers except night prayer. But I'm gone in the morning before morning prayer happens, which is at 8 o'clock. But I do my own personal intentions. It's really nice having the chapel here on campus, just downstairs, really. So that's one of the big pluses about living on campus is that we have the oratory at full access. So I go down there at 6:30 in the morning, and I've started saying my daily rosary down there before work, and then it depends with work. It varies when I get home, but if I get home before 5:45, I have the opportunity to join the rest of the community for evening prayer, and then 8:45 is night prayer at Compline. So those are just like the Harmel ran opportunities I have within prayer, but I also try and get some personal prayer in within having access to the chapel.
Yeah, so Harmel, we do try and structure time for guys to get in a rhythm for prayer. I'm gonna put you on the spot, Matt. Did any of it stick? What's your prayer life like?
Well, so um for a while, yeah, it was a bit of a struggle. I didn't really kind of like Lewis, like it wasn't like I work every day and I go in at 6 in the morning and work till 4. So for me it's kind of hard to get around that. But what I do is in the mornings, I'll listen and pray a daily rosary on my way into work, and then um, that generally takes about 15 minutes. So I just kind of sit in silence for the rest of the time. And then on Tuesdays, my fiance and I and my roommate have been committing to go to either confession or daily mass at the Basilica in Grand Rapids every Tuesday. And then I've also, since Harmel, committed to going once a week to adoration over at Our Lady Consolation in Rockford, where Father Dominic is the pastor at or priest at. And then I just got a Compline book for Christmas, so I wanted to try to start that back up.
Cool. Guys, another question kind of on the round, and I'll just let you guys maybe talk amongst yourselves about this, but there is a palpable brotherhood that I notice seeing you guys show up here for this alumni panel at prime, you know, TV watching, basketball playing, other activities of leisure time in your day, and you would give back to Harmel, and just having you guys on, even in the 10 minutes before this panel started, um, I can see you all know each other, you all can give each other a hard time. Where does that come from? How has that, was that something you were looking for? Was that something that you were cultivating?
Yeah, for sure. Like, so I myself, I grew up with three sisters. So I'm the only guy in my family, aside from my dad. And so growing up, it was definitely different. And then going to Harmel, it was kind of, it wasn't really like a rude awakening, but it was kind of a little bit of a shock. We'd all Nate
You're
in my
like,
year,
oh,
we'd
these
all
people that you live with punch you? Like, that's kind of crazy.
right.
Sister's fun.
Sisters don't really
Long
do
hair.
that, but
No, it don't. Yeah, right. So like we'd start jujitsu, we'd start grappling and boxing
Yep.
inside the oratory before it was even the not even before it was the oratory, but like we'd just start boxing in that room.
Yeah, it was a concrete floor at the time.
Yeah. And so I mean like it's I mean we're with each other practically 24/7. So we get the best of each other, we get the worst of each other, and some days it's all right, I'm gonna fight you because we're disagreeing and I don't care what you say, so let's fight it out, and then like we're great at the end. And that was kind of one thing I noticed from Harmel. And I mean, for like the biggest example is Nate and I are getting married soon. Nate's sooner than I am.
Yep.
And we're groomsmen in each other's wedding. So I mean, it tells the tale even after Harmel how close Harmel has kind of brought us guys together.
I will say too, two of my favorite like long-standing memories and things that happen repeatedly at Harmel are uh, talks over dinner on work days were always amazing.
Yeah.
And then the long conversations we would have like
in the hallway.
class-wide after prayer in the hallway.
Yeah.
And Lewis, does that still happen?
Yeah, it happens all the
Okay,
time.
good.
There's
Because
just people that like would just be sitting in the hallway and you walk out and they're just having like some crazy conversation.
right. It's just it's like the long day decompression of just being able to enjoy each other's company and like do the daily debrief of, oh, work today sucked, or guess what I did because it was awesome. And just kind of like go around the room and get the review on everyone's day. Those are two parts of the like brotherhood aspect that I really appreciated at the time, but also looking back, definitely miss for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The spontaneous conversations.
Yeah, well, spontaneous everything. I mean, there's just a spontaneous amount of literally anything that happens. I mean, people will come up. It's just nice having like a group of like 20 guys right next together. You can be like, hey, let's go do this. And if they aren't losers, like you'll be able to pull quite a few along with you to get you to do kind of anything.
Yep.
But yes, that's some of the cool parts. I never actually went to Harmel with any of these guys. They are all old, so they graduated before me. But just through like different events that Harmel has, these guys are some of like the probably three of the alumni that I know the most out of everyone, because I always see them at different events, or they get talked about by the teachers.
In a good way.
All good things, guys. All good things. But
All right, good. I got a little scared for a second there.
yeah, sure. But I mean, I know these guys just through like that they're Harmel alumni and that they come to events and they show up for Harmel stuff, or sometimes they'll come to formation on Wednesday nights, which I'm actually missing right now. But okay. But that's okay. You got me out of it for tonight. But yeah. So I know I've never went to school with these guys, but I know them all pretty well. Well, not that well, but I know them, so it's pretty cool.
I mean, like a big example is Luke Page, one of the other students, and I were just at Harmel this past weekend working on my brakes, and I had texted Lewis because the brake job, as all car projects don't happen as quickly as you want them. So I had to leave my car at the lab overnight, and I had texted Lewis. I was like, "Hey, uh, I need help getting in tomorrow morning," and he's like, "Sure thing, I got you." So we finished up and we got the car out of the garage, closed up shop, and Lewis had texted me or called me, and he's like, "Dude, you better not leave before, like, because they were a couple other guys were using their car and they were towing a rope behind their car and with sleds, and we're just towing each other around sleds with cars, and so we did that for about 30 minutes.
That was only when you started. We were doing it for like an hour before you got
Right.
Oh man.
Just pushing boundaries and testing limits of ropes.
Oh yeah.
Consider
And
it
I
physics
think
class.
There you
that's
go.
the thing too is all these guys are coming from different backgrounds and different situations, but when we're all put together, we're oriented towards the same goal, and those build bonds that last outside of the curriculum. Kind of like Matt was saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, on a similar yet opposite note here, I have this question in the chat of just about life on campus. We are currently uh, living and working and learning on a host campus. So we have carved out a little corner of their campus while they're running their own school and their own events. How much interaction do the students have with the rest of the kind of the non-Harmel community? And Lewis, I wonder if maybe you can take this just to speak very presently about how that interaction goes.
well, it's kind of however you want it to be. I mean, we Harmel, all the guys, we live on the third floor dorm building. So we don't dorm with anyone else from Kuiper. We kind of have our own floor, which is nice. And then people have like the second and first floor underneath us, and that's all Kuiper students. But I mean, we see and walk by and talk to different people all the time. I was just talking to a Kuiper kid, telling me to let him know next time we go sledding because he wants to do it with us. We had a Kuiper student come to mass with us tonight because we have mass in the chapel on Wednesday nights. And one of our other alumni, who's also kind of in a similar situation as Benedict, was talking with him, and he invited him to mass. So it's kind of as open as you want it to be. We've played sports with some of them before down in the field when it was warmer out. We played volleyball with them a bunch. But it more times than not, we're kind of like within our own bubble, I want to say. Not it's as much as the bubble as you want to stay in. So if you want to interact with the other people, you can. But yeah.
I imagine your schedules are somewhat different perhaps than a
Yeah.
typical the typical college, the 4-year college experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Another question here that I might pop in some of the answer. But first, I guess go around the horn. Just how many years were each of you did you spend actually at Harmel with the different programs that you were in? Matt?
So Nate and I technically started in
September 2020.
yeah, September of 2020. And
And
that was during COVID, so that was Harmel's kind of quote unquote soft start. So we weren't able to really do anything except for we were able to be on campus, and it was 4 guys. But so technically, class-wise, when we were actually able to start, we were on campus, um, learning for about a year and a half. But that's because we had to start uh, in the winter of 2020, and then we went through the summer to kind of make up that fall semester.
Yeah, so you guys were a little wonky.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but yeah, technically a year and a half, 2 years, depending on
yeah,
how you want to slice it.
yeah.
Yeah. Josh, for when you came into the program, when was that? 2021?
Yeah, it would have been August. I was on campus August of 21 through May of 23. It's a standard like 2 year.
Yeah.
But on campus through the summer because we had to work.
Right. Okay. And then Lewis, you did the foundations program, and that's a 1 year program.
Yep.
We, as Harmel has piloted some programs, as Matt said, trying to kick this thing off in 2020, had a lot of challenges, not just starting a new thing, but 2020 brought a whole host of ripples. We were piloting these programs and finding out what works, what the market is calling for, and we have, since some of these guys have graduated, we have really centered a lot of our energy around this foundations program. We've found that doing a year kind of a survey of different trades has helped, I think, has helped guys get a sense for what the trades are to kind of give an overview of things and also take commitment 1 year at a time to be able to kind of build that muscle. So earlier Nate said there was this stigma or sting of being a college dropout, and I've heard from guys also through my casual conversations of like that is a real thing, and to be able to approach a program that is still rigorous and challenging, but is not overbearing or overwhelming has been something that they can look forward to rather than dread. So I don't know, Lewis, if you have any comments on that.
Not really. I definitely just was a fan of the idea. And I mean, like you said, it's kind of like 1 year commitment at a time, as to where like I didn't know what I was doing after last year. And then from there, I got the opportunity to come back and with this stewardship program and have the opportunity to kind of stick it out a little longer here in Grand Rapids, which I've come to the discernment that I believe after the summer I'm going to end up going home, which is I'm perfectly fine with that. And I am very happy that I've been able to be out here in Grand Rapids and working and gaining experience and being in a great community while I was out here. So, yeah, it is kind of a cool idea just to be able to take it kind of 1 year at a time and kind of figure your stuff out, because I as well didn't go to college before this. I was looking at other colleges, and I took 2 gap years between high school and going to Harmel because I knew just university college wasn't what I wanted.
Now I'll just note here a question: how many students come from out of state? And that really varies from year to year. But I'll speak on this year. We currently have we have a student body of 22 students in 12 different states across the nation represented, which strangely, in my view, two come all the way from Alaska, which wild. Okay, so Harmel, the first, as far as I know, the first enacted Catholic trade school for men in the United States has drawn people from all over the United States, and um, so it varies. But go around the horn. Actually, where are you guys all from? Where did you come from to Harmel?
So I was born in Pennsylvania, and then I moved to Indiana, and now I live in Michigan.
I'm from right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Matthew?
I'm born and raised in Michigan. My parents, which that's where I'm at currently because I still don't have Wi-Fi set up at my house. But I am currently my parents. I grew up in Holland, Michigan.
And I'm from the western suburbs of Chicago.
Thanks, guys. Another question coming from the RSVP survey. Let's see. Okay, just for you guys, how much did you work versus how much were you in class during your time here at Harmel? And I'll say, just kind of in general, as we've massaged our program and really developed it out. So typically, our foundation guys are in class 3 days a week, and then they're out at work 2 days a week. While our apprentices, because we do offer an apprentice track, opting to come back for a second year and dive into one of those trades, the apprentices are in class 2 days a week and at work 3 days a week during the work week. Now, some guys maybe work more or less, not sure, but that's kind of typical. Is that your experience, guys?
Yeah, that was how I had it. We had worked Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I was a little different because my shop did kind of like a half day on Friday just to pick up slack because generally they were 10-hour days. So I would get out of work on Friday about 10 or noon, just have the rest of the day do my homework or work on my projects. And then school Tuesday, Thursday, and then first semester welding was Saturday mornings. But like, probably 25 to 30 hours of work a week, 20 hours of school. Probably not that much a week.
So that's why you had so much time on your hands.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for me it was similar. We did 3 days work, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so I went at my shop we did 10-hour days. So 10-hour Monday, 10-hour Wednesday, 10-hour Friday. And then it was 2 days class, and then Saturdays was also welding.
Yeah, when I was starting out, I did more of the same schedule, kind of every other day. And then towards the end, when I was approaching my apprenticeship, I would work a full week at a time. And then on the off week, I would do a full week of classes for the electrical code, and it would alternate. But but yeah, it changed a little bit. And then I just did the welding class for fun because my Saturdays were free and I enjoyed welding. So I did that.
And I had class Monday, Wednesday, Friday last year, so I would work Tuesday, Thursday, and most Saturdays if I chose to.
Lewis, a follow-up question from the RSVP bank here. Wondering what kinds of jobs Harmel students are doing while they're in class.
In class, as in what jobs people have, like
during the year. Yeah, sorry, during
well, some guys it varies heavily. Some people work at Culver's and Chipotle if that's what they choose to. And then we have some people who work at welding shops, Valley Truck Parts. They tear down like transmissions, just like big truck engines all day. We have some guys that work at Discount Tire at different tire shops. So just kind of anything you want to. Harmel highly encourages finding a job within the trades, but it's kind of they want you to be working, and it kind of teaches like a life balance aspect of like working and going to school at the same time. That's one of the main reasons, and they do recommend again working in the trades. But some people would rather work at a restaurant or just kind of getting a job, which is a-okay.
And the rest of you guys who started right off the bat with apprenticeships, am I correct in thinking that those jobs that you were working every other day were in line with your chosen apprenticeship?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the other cool thing about Harmel that I always tell people is that not only do you get set up in a job or an apprenticeship in a trade that you're interested in, but Harmel will also connect you with local businesses in the area who have connections to farther things. So it's good for networking as well.
Yeah, I see just caught glimpse of a question in the chat. Oh gosh, I just lost the chat. I've lost the chat. Saw a glimpse and it's gone. Um, uh, just the most recent question that just came in about job placement post graduation, and I know I don't do the programs or some of that mentoring on the learning side there. But I do know that Carmel, we don't guarantee anyone a job, but with that network of whether it's Harmel network shops or other supporters, we certainly try and work for guys to get them placed in different shops as to their interests. But I know our guys will always say it comes down to the man, and he's got to earn his place. So we'll work with you on interview skills, but we're not gonna interview for you. Um, uh, Coming back around here to learning on campus. Um, I know from being out talking to people, we Harmel people talk a lot about our hands-on learning and our project-based learning here at Harmel. I wonder if any of you guys can speak to what that might have been. Are there any memorable projects, or did we just have you completing workbooks or something? It was just workbooks, huh?
Well, I can say for the foundations year last year, for our construction class, we built a glorified chicken coop for Mr. Beach at his house, which, I mean, it's basically a shed, but that was a lot of fun, from doing the foundation of pouring a concrete slab to framing up to siding and sheathing and the whole nine. We built a chicken coop. So that was a lot of fun. And it was like in the snow and everything. So that's just always like a fun memory I have. But we did all different kinds of stuff. We, for our automotive class, we worked on our own cars sometimes. Like people need oil change. They're like, great, like we're doing that next week. So we'll change your oil for class, or changing brakes, brake pads, and different stuff like that. Oftentimes, so it was very often hands-on kind of experience. Sometimes we had a tough time being able to get hands-on stuff within like other things, but we always kind of found a way to make it happen. Like
One of
even
or go ahead, Liz.
I would say even though like we had a forging class last year, and so they Harmel hooked us up with this. I forget the gentleman's name, but he was on the Forge and Fire TV show, and we all got to go over there to his forge and work with him. We got to make our own knives just straight out of his forge, which was super cool and a lot of fun.
One of the ones that hands-on project that jumps out at me is for our hydraulics and pneumatics class, we had to build a wood splitter, like a log splitter. And the first day of that class, we spent that. Well, the teacher was like, "Hey, you're going to do this," and we're like, "We are totally incapable of doing that." So we spent the first 30 minutes, hour of that class looking at pictures, watching YouTube videos, and then we literally we designed a log splitter based off what we saw, and then we fabricated it. And by the end of the semester, we had a working log splitter. And even though it was hydraulics and pneumatics class, I mean, it was fab class. It was how to change a tire class. It was hey, that piece of metal is way too heavy and you can't go there. You're gonna break the log splitter. It was very technically immersive, and definitely like a class which we all got our hands super super dirty, which was awesome.
Yeah, I can remember for the electrical program, as Harmel grew and as we were able to get access to more and more machines and other things for the machine systems programs, there'd be days where instead of sitting down and doing the code books, we would go up into the machine shop and help run the wiring for these machines and learn all the specs and help hook them up. with everyone. So it was a way to kind of unite the two classes together, which is pretty fun. And then also the fact that Harmel, they highly encourage proactive learning. So if there were ever times you wanted to go up into the shop and either weld stuff or do extra machining work, as long as you told somebody ahead of time and followed safety protocol, they were fully willing to let you do that. Just letting you kind of take the reins on learning stuff just outside of class.
Yeah, my year it was definitely a lot different. And listening to Lewis and Josh's projects, I'd always get a little jealous because we never really had that. Just because it was so new, and so it was kind of like trying to, like, my year was kind of the trying to figure out how to do this.
Your
So
project was building Harmel, it sounds like, Matt.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
true.
pretty much. That was definitely Nate and I's project. So I mean, it's so cool to see how much it's grown. But one of yeah, so I mean, technically, yeah, I guess that would be my favorite project.
Yeah.
But one specific memory that I had was because there was four of us, um, and we were just trying to figure out how to make classes, and Kyle was figuring out how to teach, and he's done so much better now too, and it's insane, all the things that the guys are doing now. But one thing I remember for I think it was a hydraulics class, or something to do with hydraulics. We all piled into Kyle's car and went to a uh, scrapyard, and we were literally like, that was our class day. Was we went to each different car, and basically just kind of learned about different things on the car, and pulled some of the alternators out, and took them back to Harmel, learned how they worked, and took some of the engines out, learned how they worked and stuff like that. And so that was one of the class days that I remember really well. Yeah, our big project that we had was, we were the first uh, group that built go-karts. So we had two go-karts. We had an electric one and a gas-powered one, and so those were pretty fun to build.
Oh, the go-karts. I saw a question of what, speaking of today's programs and specifically for the foundations of skilled stewardship, what is, I'm going to say, the litany of trades that we offer during that first year? And Lewis, I'm not going to put you on the spot because it is a litany. I'm gonna run them off. There's construction, there's welding, there's metal fab and blacksmithing, there's electrical, Nathan. There's carpentry, there's a home maintenance section and HVAC. There's the auto repair and maintenance as well as small engines, which I think our guys just are started the new year with. They're getting ready for the go-kart build. And then finally, there's also machining, which is the MST, machine system technology, and plumbing. So you're getting a whole host of exposure in that foundations year, um, with the different trades. And I think they're maybe, God, Lewis, correct me if I'm wrong here, like 6 weeks on each, and you're kind of rotating through.
Uh, Give or take, I think definitely a little less on some. The program's a little different from when I took it last year. Things have been adjusted.
Mhm.
Um, so I can't really speak for the exact, but I think 6 weeks is sounds about right. Definitely a little less on some other ones. Um,
Yeah.
and that's for like the three class days a week that you have. Um, but yeah, that sounds about right. And it's definitely how you word it, like an exposure to things. Granted, since we're getting so many things done, and like getting into so many different trades, you're not getting a full like year college course on these things where you're gonna be able to jump out and be able to be a master carpenter. But it's like a great exposure to each and everything.
Yeah. Um, so kind of switching gears, we've talked, didn't mean that pun a little bit, but just it's in my nature now. But you guys have been talking a lot about the trades and learning with your hands. Josh, you had mentioned though early on about the humanities part, and so Harmel is a trade school that's grounded in the Catholic faith, uh, but also takes your minds on a mental exercise through the humanities. I wonder if you guys can speak to that. I know Mr. Phelps talked a bit about this at our last week's panel that featured the faculty, where we do offer this coursework of God and man in the humanities, and I just wonder if you might speak a little bit to that. How do you balance that with the trades? It seems like they're two different things.
Who
It
wants a shot
does.
at the big question?
Really is. I guess one of the simple answers and one of the things we go over is Harmel tries to follow the example of the rule of Saint Benedict in the sense that we pray and work. Those two things aren't separate. We're meant to do them together. And through the humanities, the program has several books and articles and encyclicals that are tailored specifically to the dignity of work and what the Catholic Church says about work. So works by von Balthasar or Cardinal Ratzinger that are meant to show the students that prayer and work aren't separated. They're supposed to be joined at the hip, if you will.
Yeah, one of our big phrases is that work was made for man, not man made for work, which is something that it needs to be unpacked a little bit, but it's basically saying that work was a gift made for man to use to help them grow within themselves and within their faith. And like Mr. Hanley here was saying, we uncover a good couple of encyclicals that talks about that. There's Spe Salve and Laborum Exertions, which Laborum Exertions is literally, I forget the exact translation, but it's work. I forget. It's something about prayer and work or something along those lines. But yeah, we learned that prayer and work are very much so aligned, especially as a Catholic man and a Catholic tradesman, because I mean, labor, that it says within the Mass, work of the human hands, or fruit of the vine and work of the human hands becomes our spiritual drink. So it refers to about how it's like the creation of God within, and then the work of human hands creating this body or this bread and wine. And it says so in the Mass, and it's also like man's job to kind of work within God's creation to then co-create with him. That's just one of the main things we kind of reviewed and studied.
Lewis, it sounds like you just underwent a minor inquisition.
Yeah, kind of. I'm like sweating over here, kind of.
Might you guys talk a little bit about this inquisition when we talk about the humanities program? So you're surveying these trades, or you're deep into your apprenticeship schooling, and Mr. Phelps comes a knocking and pulls you out for an hour or more of your day to talk to you about these rather philosophical things. And then you're not writing a term paper about what you've learned. We do this thing called the Grand Inquisition. What do you guys think of that? And you alumni, why you come back for them? Because I see you there.
Well, the first
more
part really
fun to watch.
Yeah, it is more fun, right? You're right about that.
It is so intense. It's a rite of passage. Is the thing.
You kind of got to come back to watch the other guys go through the fire, I think. Yep. Yeah, the bi-week, my third and fourth semester, we did bi-weekly mini ones. I don't know if it's still that way, but those would like take the chunks of material and we do little inquisitions on them throughout the year. And then the big ones at the end of each semester. Oh, go ahead, Kate.
Oh no, you're fine, Josh. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. And then the big ones at the end of the semester. They're kind of two-sided. So there's a more discussion side where it's more of a back and forth between the we'll say the inquisitors and the inquisitees, and then there's a section where either we were not one-on-one. I think we were two-on-one for our major inquisitions against Mr. Phelps, and he grills us on a particular topic or subject that we learned about that year. And I think it's 10 minutes and 12 minutes, something like that, or plus or minus a few minutes either way. And you have to do it in front of a room full of really smart people that Mr. Phelps has met through the 30 years of his academic career. So I'm just there's all sorts of people there. There's, I mean, plumbers, there's farmers, there's academics, there's priests, there's monks, there's entrepreneurs, just students, alumni, just all sorts of people from all different walks of life that ask really good questions. And you can prep all you want, but it's Mr. Phelps will find a way to ask you a question that will make you think on the spot, no matter what.
Well, if I do remember, you were pretty devious at the last Grand Inquisition. You were up in the front row and you were asking some pretty good questions too.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I would never do that to the guys who were trying to get through.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too, because like when us alumni come over or come out, like some of us probably don't remember everything we learned, but a lot of times, like if we do remember something, we'll like try to I guess like I mean it's again with the brotherhood. It's we take that, we find a missing piece in their argument and take that little thing and just kind of shove it in their side and kind of twist it to try to just make them a little squirm a little bit. But it's definitely I mean it helps them grow. It helps them to learn better on how to make arguments and to explain what they learned. And it's also good for us too. I mean, me especially, I love going back because it's a way for me to kind of remember what I learned to kind of jog my memory about like how important a lot of these things are in work and in life.
Thanks, guys. I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the clock here and I'm trying to respect everyone's time. So we are going to try and wrap this up at 9. But maybe we have 6 minutes for each of you to just offer something, thinking life after Harmel. What is something that you have taken with you into your lives now that you might credit back to Harmel? Besides your fiance, Matthew.
I think I could say just, well, two things. One was excellent, a good lesson in what excellent hands-on teaching is, and how, like, and I guess I kind of knew this before, but it definitely instilled it. Just like when you don't know what the problem is, just dig in and just start taking things apart and get your hands dirty and see what you can learn about it. And that was super encouraging to be taught that way, to know that it's like okay to pursue a problem this way. And then going to Harmel, the humanities program, renewed my love for reading, which I had as a child, and kind of put on the back burner for most of high school. But it got me reading again, and I'm still reading all kinds of books, which is awesome.
Nate?
Yeah, so again, it's also two things. Number one, it's the love of truth that Harmel has showed me, and also the fact that they give you the tools and the knowledge to tackle life, and they do it in a in the modern day, they do it in a very unconventional way. But at the end of the day, all these skills you're learning, all this knowledge, and all the connections that you make will show you that they don't show you your purpose objectively. They show you that you already got what it takes to find your purpose. And it's not just you, it's all the people around you that will stick with you throughout the whole experience and for long after.
Matt?
Yeah, definitely for me. I mean, for one, especially the brotherhood, the brothership. I mean, I still to this day, one of the guys or two of the guys live out of state from my graduate year. One is Josh Giger, he's back out in Colorado, and the other one is Josiah Johnson, he's out in Chicago. And I still to this day still every once in a while call them up, see how they're doing. So it's definitely one big thing for me, is the brotherhood. And two, I would say, yeah, I guess the ora et labora, prayer and work. For me, like especially at a hard day at work, I mean it's so hard to keep your mind, I guess like clear. So a lot of times, like if I'm doing something repetitive, I'll take this amount of time to pray for this person or this amount of time to pray for that person, and just kind of try to bring faith back into work. For me, definitely was what Harmel kind of helped me learn, especially through humanities.
Lewis, what'd you take and bring back?
Sorry?
Said, what'd you take from Harmel and what'd you bring back? Because you're back with us.
What did I bring back?
Philly
Me, I guess. I was just talking about Philly cheesesteaks the other day and how I could kill one. I could go for a Philly cheesesteak. Speaking of food, sorry, I just wanted to mention it. Michelle Kraft asked if we accommodate for food allergies in our meal program. Not to overthrow you, Miss Avery, but yeah, there's one guy here who is gluten free, and our catering company actually makes him like a little gluten free meal, like with every dinner that they bring us, which is really cool. But yeah, I just saw that, so I wanted to mention that. But like Matthew said, the brotherhood is one of the biggest things for me. I personally didn't get to go to school with any of these guys. I had my own group of one-year guys last year, and I also am back this year with a couple of the guys I went to school last year, but a lot of my friends have moved away. And like Matthew was saying, I have friends now in Florida, in Michigan, in Connecticut, in Minnesota, in Oregon. I have tons of friends that mean a lot to me, who I try and keep in contact with and as often as I can. And that's one of the biggest things. And I wish I could say it is, but school isn't all sunshine and rainbows all the time. It never is. Nothing ever is. But I mean, it's not a year of sunshine or rainbows, and there are times when things get hard and things really just kind of stink. And having those brothers alongside you to kind of, you go through it together and you encourage and you kind of push forward with each other, which is one of the biggest things and something that taught me to appreciate, and I guess all of us to appreciate each other a lot. And so brotherhood's one of the biggest things. I mean, my friend Brent, who is in Florida, I'm going to be his groomsman in his wedding coming up this summer. I literally, like, I met him last year, and I'm one of his groomsmen. So it's just such a blessing to be able to have met those people I did. And that, and just kind of experience, like kind of being able to get away from home and kind of have that freedom in a healthy environment to be able to like kind of construct and understand yourself a little better and have positive influences most of the time around you. Putting, I guess, just, yeah.
Thanks, Lewis. Well, thank you all four of you for joining us, and thank you everyone at home for your questions and for your interest in Harmel. I'm about to end this recording, but it is recorded, and so I'd love to be able to send it out to you. We have your RSVP, so I'm happy to do that if you want to go back and see these sunshine rays from tonight and revisit some of those answers. If you have other questions or you think of one after we leave this, please feel free to email into Harmel, hello@harmelacademy.org. I'll see that and be able to get answers for you. We're currently taking applications. January and February tends to be a big application month, so that's why we wanted to get these Q&As going. So thank you all for coming, and please enjoy the rest of your evenings, and we hope to stay in touch with you all. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care.